The diplomatic chamber gleamed with bioluminescent patterns as Captain Jake Morrison stood before the most beautiful and deadly being he had ever encountered. Princess Vera of the Toxara Empire radiated an ethereal purple glow from her translucent skin, and her eyes held galaxies of ancient wisdom mixed with deep sorrow. She raised one delicate hand in warning as Jake stepped closer. "Stay away, human," she said softly, her voice like musical chimes. "I am poison to your kind." Jake had read the reports, and he knew the Toxara species produced neurotoxins through their skin as a natural defense mechanism. But something in her eyes told him there was more to this story. The war between Earth and the Toxara Empire had raged for 3 years until both sides realized they were being manipulated by a third party, and now here they stood in the first peace negotiations. "I came here to end a war," Jake replied steadily, "not to fear someone who wants the same thing." Vera's expression flickered with surprise, and she lowered her hand slightly. "You do not understand human," she continued. "Every Toxara who has touched another species has killed them instantly, and my people have lived in isolation because of this curse." Jake noticed how she stood apart from everything, even avoiding the furniture in her own diplomatic ship. "How long have you been alone?" he asked gently. "Vera's luminescent patterns dimmed all my life," she whispered. "No one can touch me without dying, and I have watched my people suffer the same fate for generations." The human captain felt his heart ache for this lonely princess who carried the weight of her entire species, isolation. "What if there was another way?" Jake proposed. "What if humans are different? You would risk your life on a possibility?" Vera asked, her eyes widening. Jake smiled. "I have spent 3 years fighting your people, and now I learn we were both pawns in someone else's game. And if there is a chance that humans and Toxara can coexist without fear, then yes, would risk everything." He had studied the biochemical reports during the flight to this meeting, and human cellular structure was remarkably resilient, with an immune system that adapted to almost any threat. "The Galactic Council told us we were monsters," Vera said bitterly. "They said our touch brought only death, and so we believed them and stayed away from everyone." Jake took another step forward. "They lied to keep us apart, because together we would be too powerful to control." Vera's patterns began to glow brighter with hope, mixed with terror. "Even if you survive my touch," she said, "there is no future for us, and my people have strict laws about contact with other species." Jake reached the edge of her personal space. "I have seen humans survive radiation that would kill most species and adapt to toxins that should be lethal, and our bodies rewrite their own chemistry to protect us." "Is this why you came here?" Vera asked, "to prove a theory?" "No," Jake said softly. "I came because I saw your face during the last transmission, and I saw someone who was tired of being feared. And I know that feeling." Vera's composure cracked slightly. "You commanded the fleet that destroyed our outer colonies, and you ordered the strike that killed half my crew." Jake countered, "But we were both following orders based on lies." The princess turned away, her shoulders trembling. "What if you die?" she whispered. "What if I kill another innocent being?" "Then at least one human tried to show you that you are not a monster," Jake replied. "But I do not think I will die." Vera spun around. "How can you be certain?" "Because humans are stubborn." Jake grinned. "And we have survived everything the universe threw at us by adapting." He extended his hand, palm up. "Test it," he offered, just one finger. "And if your toxin affects me, we will find another way to build peace." Vera's eyes filled with an emotion that transcended species boundaries. "You would truly do this?" she asked. "For peace," Jake said firmly. "For understanding, and maybe because I think you deserve to know what a friendly touch feels like." The princess stared at his hand for a long moment, and her patterns shifted through colors that betrayed her internal struggle. "If this works," she began. "When this works." Jake corrected Vera, slowly raised her hand, and her finger trembling as it hovered above his. "My toxin has killed creatures with hides thick as starship hulls," she warned. Jake kept his hand steady. "Then it is time to meet something more resilient than any hide." Their fingers touched. Vera gasped and pulled back immediately, her eyes wide with horror, as she waited for Jake to collapse. But Jake stood firm, and he flexed his fingers with a slight tingling sensation spreading through his hand. He watched as his skin, where They touched briefly, turned purple, then faded back to normal. "Your toxin," he said with wonder. "My body just rewrote its chemistry to neutralize it." Vera's patterns exploded with brilliant light. "Impossible." She breathed. Jake held up his hand again, already immune and adapting. "Try again," he encouraged. This time, Vera pressed her whole palm against his. The tingling was less, and within seconds it vanished completely. Jake's hand transformed the toxin into something harmless, and he could feel his body learning, understanding and adapting to her unique chemistry. Tears streamed down Vera's face, glowing like liquid starlight. "I can touch you," she whispered in awe after a lifetime of isolation. "I can finally touch someone." Jake gently squeezed her hand. "You are not poison, princess, and you never were, and you were just waiting for someone whose biology could dance with yours instead of dying from it." But her warning echoed in his mind. "Stay away. I am poison." Yet here he stood, holding the hand of an alien princess, and bridging a gap between two species. Vera looked up at him with hope blazing in her eyes. "What happens now?" she asked. Jake smiled. "Now we show both our peoples that humans and Toxara can stand together, and we end this war, and we make sure no one else suffers from the Galactic Council's lies." The princess nodded slowly, then did something that shocked them both. She leaned forward and pressed her lips gently against his. Jake felt the toxin rush through him stronger than before, but his body responded instantly, and it transformed the poison into something that made his nerves sing with energy. When they parted, Vera's patterns glowed with colors he had never seen. "I have dreamed of this moment," she confessed, "but I never believed it possible." Jake touched her face carefully. "You are not alone anymore." The door to the chamber opened, and Vera's advisor froze at the sight of a human touching the princess. "Your Highness," the advisor stammered. Vera turned with radiant confidence. "Send word to the Toxara Empire and tell them the isolation ends today, and humans have given us the greatest gift and the ability to live without fear." Jake stood beside her, ready to face whatever came next, because he had just rewritten the future of two species. With a single touch, the war was over, but a new chapter was beginning, and for the first time in her life, Princess Vera of the Toxara Empire knew what it meant to be truly free, and Jake Morrison, the human captain who refused to fear the unknown, had found something worth more than victory. He had found connection.